My friends, we are living in extraordinary times. You've heard the headlines: Israel in panic, Yemen's missiles shaking Netanyahu at his core. The world looks at this as just another military flare-up, but I want you to see it differently. Beneath the explosions, beneath the diplomatic maneuvers, there is something much deeper at play. This is not only about missiles, or about one nation's security, or about Netanyahu's political crisis. It is about the unraveling of an economic and political order that has been held together for decades. And whenever such a structure begins to crack, opportunities arise, opportunities for change, for transformation, for a reckoning with realities that have long been denied. Power is a curious thing. It often appears permanent, solid, unshakable, yet history and current events reveal it to be far more fragile than anyone dares to admit. Take the case of Netanyahu and Israel. On the surface, Israel projects strength, advanced technology, a formidable military, strategic alliances, and decades of global recognition. The world assumes such power is untouchable, that the structures of authority built over decades can withstand any challenge. But the moment Yemen's missiles pierce through that narrative, panic spreads. And this is not just a lesson for nations, it is a lesson for every individual who believes that their status, wealth, or influence makes them untouchable. Power in any form is never as solid as it looks. The illusion of permanence is often a trap, and those who fail to recognize it can be caught off guard when reality asserts itself. Consider how quickly perceived control can dissolve. For Netanyahu, years of political maneuvering, media influence, and military dominance built an image of infallibility. The public, allies, and even opponents may have believed his position was secure, yet a single moment of disruption, an unexpected missile strike, shifts the entire landscape. Suddenly, decisions become reactive rather than proactive. Fear replaces confidence. The same pattern occurs in our personal lives, in business, and in society at large. We cling to titles, to accumulated resources, or to positions of perceived strength, believing they shield us from challenge. And yet all it takes is a disruption, a market shift, a social upheaval, an unforeseen personal challenge to reveal how delicate these structures truly are. This fragility is not a weakness, it is an opportunity. When we understand that power is never absolute, we are freed from the illusion that we must control everything, and we are empowered to act with intention and strategy. The moment Israel's security was questioned, it forced reflection. What truly sustains leadership? What truly sustains influence? In life, this is the same question we must ask ourselves. Are we relying solely on appearances, on borrowed authority, or on external validation to define our strength? Or are we cultivating resilience, adaptability, and vision that can withstand even the most severe tests? Here is a hook. The strongest empires, organizations, and individuals are not those that appear unshakable. They are those that anticipate disruption, embrace vulnerability as a teacher, and transform challenges into catalysts for growth. Netanyahu's panic demonstrates a key truth. Relying on static power is a trap. Those who believe that dominance is guaranteed by position or wealth alone are often the first to fall when conditions change. For us, this is a lesson in vigilance and preparation. True strength emerges when we understand that every structure, political, economic, or personal, can be tested, and that the response to that test defines the lasting measure of power. Now, let us apply this to personal ambition and daily life. Think about the areas where you feel secure, your career, finances, relationships, or social influence. How much of that security is real and how much is an illusion sustained by routine, familiarity, or appearances? The moment we recognize that our power is conditional, we open ourselves to growth. We learn to adapt, innovate, and reinforce the foundations that truly matter: knowledge, skill, resilience, and integrity. Just as Israel faces the challenge of reevaluating its security and strategy, we too must confront the gaps in our own preparedness and fortify ourselves against disruption. Power is fragile, yes, but fragility contains potential. The cracks in authority, the moments of panic, the unexpected challenges, these are opportunities to rise, to innovate, and to demonstrate true strength. Those who survive and thrive are not those who cling blindly to appearances, but those who embrace the reality of uncertainty and act decisively. Remember this: permanence is an illusion, but opportunity is ever present, waiting for those bold enough to see it. Adversity is not a curse, it is the hidden forge of innovation and determination. Look at Yemen, a nation grappling with poverty, blockade, and decades of conflict. On paper, it seems powerless, overshadowed by nations with far greater resources and technology. Yet, when we examine their response, their capacity to act against a seemingly insurmountable opponent, we witness the extraordinary human potential that emerges in the face of hardship. Scarcity, limitations, and desperation are not just challenges, they are catalysts. They compel individuals and communities to find solutions that would remain undiscovered in comfort. The lesson is profound. The pressures that weigh heavily upon us are the very forces that shape creativity, resilience, and ingenuity. Consider for a moment the psychology of scarcity. When resources are abundant, the mind often drifts toward complacency, comfort, and inertia. People rely on what is given rather than seeking what is possible. But when scarcity strikes, survival instincts awaken, sharpen, and focus the mind like a laser. Yemen's actions demonstrate that innovation is not reserved for the affluent or the privileged. It is born from necessity. When conventional strategies are insufficient, the human mind begins to experiment, improvise, and take risks that it might never consider in times of plenty. The hook here is undeniable. Limitation is a training ground for brilliance. The obstacles you face, the challenges you fear, the barriers that seem insurmountable, these are not signals of defeat. They are signals to rise, to think differently, and to act decisively. This principle extends far beyond international conflict. In personal and professional life, moments of struggle often reveal capacities we never knew existed. The entrepreneur navigating financial uncertainty, the student facing academic pressures, the worker confronting systemic barriers, all find that necessity drives solutions. The critical insight is that adversity forces engagement with reality in a way comfort never can. Yemen's missiles may shake the foundations of a powerful state, but the underlying message resonates universally. The disadvantaged, when pressed to their limits, can create impact disproportionate to their apparent power. Here is a hook to remember. The world often celebrates wealth and privilege as the source of progress, yet some of the most revolutionary breakthroughs, both socially and technologically, have emerged from constraint. Limitations challenge assumptions, disrupt complacency, and ignite creative problem solving. Those who are willing to embrace their difficulties rather than avoid them transform barriers into stepping stones. The ability to innovate under pressure is not accidental. It is cultivated through deliberate confrontation with adversity and the refusal to accept the boundaries imposed by circumstance. Moreover, adversity develops more than strategy, it cultivates character. When conditions are harsh, when stakes are high, and when failure carries weight, determination grows. Yemen's courage is a vivid reminder that determination is often forged in the crucible of struggle. Likewise, in our own lives, the moments we believe will break us are precisely the moments that define us. The hook is clear. Adversity is not the enemy of achievement, it is the proving ground. Those who navigate it with vision, courage, and creativity emerge stronger, more capable, and more prepared for the challenges that lie ahead. The lesson transcends geography, politics, and circumstance. Adversity is universal, yet its transformative power depends on perspective and action. Those who see obstacles as insurmountable succumb to them. Those who see obstacles as opportunities rise above them. Yemen's ability to challenge a stronger opponent is a mirror for us all. Greatness often arises not from comfort or abundance, but from struggle, necessity, and the refusal to surrender. The hidden truth is that pressure does not crush, it reveals, it molds, it empowers, and it drives innovation that can change everything. Fear is a powerful force, one that can paralyze, manipulate, or expose the true nature of leadership. When leaders panic, it is not only a reflection of the external threat they face, but also a revelation of the fragility of their authority. Netanyahu's reaction to Yemen's missiles is instructive. The fear is not merely about physical destruction, it is the fear of losing legitimacy, the fear of being seen as incapable, the fear of the veneer of power cracking in front of the world. And this is a lesson that transcends geopolitics. It is a universal truth about the nature of leadership, influence, and personal resilience. Every person, every organization, and every society faces moments when fear threatens to dictate decisions. How we respond in those moments determines not just outcomes, but character, credibility, and the trajectory of future action. Fear reveals who we truly are and what we truly rely upon. Leaders like Netanyahu may have amassed wealth, political alliances, and military dominance, yet the moment an unexpected challenge arises, their panic exposes the fragility beneath the surface. In your own life, consider the challenges that provoke anxiety or uncertainty. The pressure you feel is not a signal of weakness, it is a test of readiness, resourcefulness, and resilience. Fear, when confronted with awareness and strategy, can become a teacher rather than a tyrant. The hook here is profound. The greater the panic, the more opportunity exists to demonstrate clarity, courage, and leadership that inspires others rather than terrifies them. The distinction between reaction and response is critical. Many falter because they allow fear to control them, making decisions based on panic rather than principle. Netanyahu's reaction illustrates what happens when fear dictates action. Strategies become defensive, messaging becomes reactive, and the illusion of control slips away. In contrast, true leadership emerges when individuals confront fear directly, analyze the situation with honesty, and act with deliberate purpose. This principle applies not only to leaders of nations, but to every individual navigating life's crisis. When fear arises, the instinct may be to retreat, to conceal uncertainty, or to cling to what seems safe. Yet those who embrace fear as a signal to focus, to strategize, and to act decisively often turn potential defeat into opportunity. Here is a hook to remember: panic is contagious, but courage is contagious too. The moment a leader shows calm, clarity, and decisiveness in the face of threat, it not only stabilizes their position, but inspires confidence and initiative in others. The same holds for individuals. When personal or professional crises arise, demonstrating composure and purpose can rally support, transform obstacles into advantages, and shift momentum. Fear tests not only the individual, but also the environment around them. It challenges every structure and relationship dependent on confidence, trust, and leadership. Moreover, fear sharpens awareness. The panic experienced by those in positions of power often illuminates flaws, vulnerabilities, and blind spots that were previously ignored. Netanyahu's crisis highlights political, strategic, and economic weaknesses that might have remained hidden if not for the shock of an unexpected threat. In our own lives, fear and pressure serve a similar function. They expose weaknesses, highlight areas requiring attention, and create a space for growth and adaptation. Those who are willing to look squarely at fear rather than deny it cultivate insight, resilience, and strategic vision. Ultimately, leadership and personal effectiveness are defined by the response to fear, not by the absence of it. Panic is not a mark of failure. It is an opportunity to rise, to act decisively, and to demonstrate integrity and capability when it matters most. The hook is clear. Every challenge, every moment of anxiety, and every crisis carries a hidden potential for growth and empowerment, provided we face it with awareness, strategy, and courage. Those who embrace this truth not only survive fear, they thrive because of it. Change does not arrive quietly. It emerges when those who have been silenced, overlooked, or marginalized find the courage to challenge the established order. Yemen's ability to confront a more powerful adversary is not simply a demonstration of military capability. It is a profound illustration of how daring to act against the status quo can shift entire systems. The hook is immediate. Power is never absolute, and those who are underestimated often possess the potential to transform reality in ways the dominant forces never anticipated. In life, every barrier, every unjust hierarchy, and every circumstance that seems fixed carries within it an opportunity for those bold enough to question, disrupt, and innovate. True progress, whether in society, business, or personal growth, is born from the audacity to act when others hesitate. Consider the psychology of challenging entrenched power. It is natural to feel intimidated, to doubt one's ability, to assume that the odds are insurmountable. Yet history repeatedly demonstrates that the willingness to confront injustice, inequality, or stagnation often produces disproportionate impact. Yemen's example shows that it is not sheer size, wealth, or technical superiority that dictates outcomes, but the determination to assert agency in the face of adversity. The hook here is clear. Those who embrace action despite fear, who refuse to accept limits imposed by circumstance, are the architects of transformation. Every obstacle presents a choice: to retreat and accept the imposed constraints, or to rise and redefine what is possible. This principle extends into every area of life. In the workplace, the courageous employee who challenges outdated methods or advocates for fairness can shift the culture of an entire organization. In communities, the voices of those long ignored can ignite movements that reshape policies and priorities. On a personal level, individuals who confront self-doubt, limiting beliefs, or external pressures create trajectories for growth that would otherwise remain unrealized. The lesson is inescapable. Change begins with the refusal to accept the status quo, with the willingness to act decisively, and with the insight to recognize that courage is a multiplier of influence. Here is another hook. The impact of challenging authority is often invisible at first. The first action may seem small, the initial push may feel insignificant, but each act of resistance, each assertion of agency, compounds over time. Yemen's strikes may appear isolated in the headlines, yet their implications ripple far beyond immediate circumstances. In the same way, your willingness to act against complacency, injustice, or personal limitation generates effects that extend beyond the moment, influencing environments, shaping perceptions, and opening pathways previously thought impossible. The courage to challenge the dominant narrative transforms not only outcomes but the very structures that created limitations in the first place. Moreover, daring to confront entrenched power cultivates resilience, ingenuity, and leadership. It demands strategy, awareness, and relentless focus. Yemen's ability to strike a stronger opponent was not random, it was deliberate, calculated, and a product of persistence despite scarcity in personal and professional life. Challenging limitations requires the same qualities. Every person who seeks meaningful change must combine vision with action, insight with courage, and persistence with adaptability. The hook is profound transformation favors those who prepare, act boldly, and refuse to let fear dictate the boundaries of possibility. Finally, the lesson resonates universally: no structure, no authority, and no circumstance